Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Our planet is home to some truly unbelievable trees, ancient giants, living legends, and strange species that look like they belong in fantasy worlds rather than real forests. Some can survive for thousands of years. Others bleed red sap, glow with rainbow-colored bark, or grow in places where almost nothing else can survive. In today's video, you'll discover some of the most extraordinary and mysterious trees ever found on Earth. From prehistoric-looking giants to forests that feel completely unreal. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the incredible side of nature together. And if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more amazing discoveries from around the world. Imagine walking beneath a ceiling made entirely of flowers, where endless cascades of lavender and violet drift overhead like a silent waterfall. This is the giant wisteria, one of the most breathtaking flowering plants on Earth. Some of these ancient vines are more than a century old, slowly twisting and expanding over decades until they become massive living structures capable of covering entire gardens. Their heavy branches often need huge wooden and steel supports just to hold their incredible weight. But what truly makes giant wisteria unforgettable is the atmosphere it creates. During peak bloom, the air becomes filled with a soft, sweet fragrance while thousands of hanging blossoms sway gently in the wind, transforming entire walkways into something that feels almost dreamlike. In Japan, wisteria is often associated with longevity, devotion, and patience. And standing beneath one, it's easy to understand why. It feels less like walking through a garden and more like stepping into another world entirely. Banyan trees are some of the most extraordinary living organisms on Earth. At first glance, they don't even look like a single tree. They resemble entire forests made of twisted trunks, endless roots, and giant canopies stretching in every direction. What makes them truly fascinating is the way they grow. Their branches send roots down from the sky, and once those roots reach the ground, they become new trunks. Over decades, and sometimes centuries, one banyan tree can spread across enormous areas and create an entire ecosystem beneath its shade. Some of the oldest banyan trees in India are so massive that thousands of people can stand beneath them at once. Birds, insects, monkeys, and countless other animals rely on them for shelter and survival. And in many cultures, especially across India, banyan trees are seen as sacred symbols of wisdom, longevity, and connection, living monuments that continue growing long after generations of humans have disappeared. Some Japanese maple trees have stood on this planet for hundreds of years, silently witnessing entire generations come and go. And what makes them so fascinating isn't just their age, it's the almost unreal beauty they develop over time. Their twisted branches spread like living sculptures, while their leaves transform into deep shades of crimson, orange, and gold every autumn. In Japan, these trees are more than just plants. They symbolize patience, balance, and the quiet passage of time itself. What's even more remarkable is that many ancient Japanese maples are still carefully protected and studied today. Botanists admire their resilience, while photographers from all over the world travel thousands of miles just to witness their colors in person for a few brief weeks each year. Because standing beneath one of these trees feels less like looking at nature, and more like looking at a living piece of history. If you ever wander through the tropical forests of Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, or the Philippines, you might suddenly come across a tree that looks completely unreal. Its trunk glows with streaks of green, blue, orange, purple, and deep red, almost as if someone painted it by hand with giant brushes and neon colors. This is the rainbow eucalyptus, one of the most extraordinary trees on Earth. But the most fascinating part is that these colors aren't flowers, paint, or an optical illusion. They're created naturally as the tree sheds its bark throughout the year. Each fresh layer underneath begins as a bright green color. Then, as it reacts with sunlight, moisture, and air, it slowly transforms into different shades, creating a living rainbow directly on the trunk itself. And standing next to one feels less like looking at a tree, and more like discovering a masterpiece hidden deep inside the jungle. At first glance, the Judas tree almost looks impossible. From its dark, rough bark suddenly burst thousands of vivid pink flowers, growing directly from the trunk itself as if the tree were glowing from within. Unlike most flowering trees, these blossoms don't wait for fresh young branches to appear. Instead, they emerge straight from the older wood, creating one of the strangest and most beautiful sights in nature, a phenomenon so unusual that it almost feels unnatural. Native to the Mediterranean region, the Judas tree is incredibly resilient, capable of surviving dry climates, poor soil, and harsh conditions where many other plants would struggle. Deep in the tropical forests of Central and South America grows a tree so enormous that ancient civilizations believed it connected different worlds together. This is the ceiba tree, a giant capable of rising over 200 feet into the jungle sky, with massive roots spreading across the ground like the walls of an ancient fortress. When the tree is young, its trunk is covered in thick conical thorns, almost like natural armor protecting it from predators. But what truly makes the ceiba extraordinary is the world it creates around itself. Date palms are far more than just trees growing in the desert. They are one of the oldest survival partners humanity has ever known. For thousands of years, entire civilizations across the Middle East and North Africa depended on them for food, shade, building materials, and even trade. What makes date palms truly remarkable is their ability to survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Their roots can reach deep underground in search of hidden water, while their leaves withstand extreme desert heat that would destroy most other plants. And then there are the dates themselves, small fruits packed with energy, nutrients, and natural sugars. In many desert regions, they were once considered so valuable that they became symbols of life, prosperity, and hospitality. Even today, massive date palm groves continue to transform dry, unforgiving landscapes into thriving ecosystems, proving that nature always finds a way to adapt and endure. Across the dry landscapes of Africa stands a tree so strange and ancient that it almost looks like it was planted upside down. This is the baobab, one of the most iconic and mysterious trees on Earth. Its enormous trunk can grow so wide that people have used hollowed-out baobabs as shelters, storage rooms, gathering places, and even small chapels. Some of these giants are believed to be over 2,000 years old, silently witnessing centuries of history pass around them. Unlike most trees, the baobab is built to survive some of the harshest conditions imaginable. Its massive trunk stores huge amounts of water, allowing it to endure long droughts beneath the relentless African sun. But what makes the baobab truly unforgettable is its silhouette. At sunset, its thick branches stretch into the sky like giant roots frozen in midair, giving the tree an almost prehistoric appearance. For many African communities, the baobab is known as the tree of life, a symbol of endurance, wisdom, and survival. And standing beside one, it feels less like looking at a tree and more like standing before a living monument from another world. Imagine walking through the middle of a lifeless desert and suddenly discovering a tree growing giant cucumber-shaped fruits straight from its branches. At first glance, it almost looks like some kind of bizarre CGI scene or an alien plant from another planet. The strangest part is how unnatural it feels against the empty landscape around it. While everything nearby looks dry and abandoned, this tree somehow stands there full of life, covered in enormous hanging fruits that seem almost too heavy for the branches to hold. It's the kind of sight that would instantly make anyone stop, stare, and question whether what they're looking at is even real. Deep within the swamps of the southern United States grows a tree that looks as if it belongs in another world entirely. The bald cypress rises from dark, still waters surrounded by thick mist, its towering trunks creating forests that feel ancient, silent, and almost haunting. But the strangest part isn't the tree itself. Around its base, hundreds of wooden spikes known as knees emerge from the water like something alive trying to break through the surface. Even scientists still debate their exact purpose, though they're believed to help the tree survive in permanently flooded environments where most roots would suffocate. The bald cypress is remarkably resilient. Its wood contains natural oils that resist decay, allowing some of these trees to survive for more than 1,000 years standing directly in water. And when fog rolls through these swamps at dawn, the entire forest transforms into something almost surreal. A place so quiet and mysterious, it feels untouched by time itself. The bald cypress isn't just adapted to extreme conditions, it has mastered them. Something pulled straight out of an ancient fantasy world. This giant tree looks like it has been growing for centuries, slowly twisting and expanding into something almost impossible to explain. Its enormous roots spread across the ground like living veins, while the strange bulb-like formations make it seem as if the tree is hiding an entire ecosystem inside itself. Standing beneath something like this would probably feel both breathtaking and slightly terrifying at the same time, like discovering a forgotten place no human was ever supposed to find. Standing beside a giant sequoia doesn't feel like standing near a tree. It feels like standing beside something ancient enough to belong to another era of Earth itself. These colossal giants can rise higher than a 25-story building, with trunks so massive that several cars could fit inside them. Some giant sequoias have lived for more than 3,000 years, silently surviving while entire civilizations rose and disappeared around them. Their thick reddish bark is packed with natural tannins that protect them from insects, disease, and even wildfire. In fact, fire is part of their survival strategy, helping clear the forest floor so new sequoias can grow. But what truly overwhelms people isn't just their size. It's the feeling beneath them. Looking upward, the top almost disappears into the sky, while the air around these trees feels strangely still, heavy with the sense of immense age and time. A giant sequoia is often called a living fossil, and it's easy to understand why. Somewhere on the remote islands of the Indian Ocean grows a tree so strange that, at first glance, it barely seems real. This is the ancient dragon tree, a living organism that looks less like a plant and more like something left behind from a prehistoric world. Its thick trunk rises upward before exploding into hundreds of twisting branches that form a perfectly shaped canopy, almost like a giant natural umbrella frozen in time. Against the sunset, its silhouette appears so unusual that many people compare it to an alien life form or a survivor from the age of dinosaurs.